Hello everyone, thank you for joining the International Remote Production with Telstra Broadcast Services. My name is Stephen Dargam. I'm a Business Development Executive Special Events, and with me I've got Carl Petch.
Hi Steve, how are you, mate?
Good.
And my name is Carl Petch, and I work for Telstra Broadcast Services with Steve, and I'm head of architecture and integration here at TBS.
Yeah. We're here today, as you know, at the Telstra Broadcast Operations Centre in Sydney. This is a T4 data centre that carries more than 400 international TV channels, and also carry around 3 million of ad hoc live production, international TV and domestic TV in Australia.
Cool. And today, Steve, we're going to talk about remote production. And just before we start, what do you think remote production is?
Look, for me, you can look at the old way of producing a special, like high sporting event, for example. You send X number of people and multiple remote production sites to one location that involve travel, cost, and basically at the end of the day produce an event. With remote production, with the advancement in technology, we are using our advanced network optical technology and networks, the next generation edge devices, to change the paradigm. Instead of sending X number of people, 10, 20 trucks to produce a sporting event, we are centralizing this. We are using our networks to interconnect the sporting event with a remote production centralized hub, cutting cost, and providing better quality services.
Cool. And from a remote production perspective, why do you think now? So in the last few years, we've had an explosion of interest in remote production, plus events that we've done as well, and some other people have done. Why do you think that is? What are the enablers?
Look, with the traditional way of doing or producing a sporting event is people want to know more. They want to watch more. They want to consume more. With the advancement in technology, it allows us to do scale up quickly. With the network that we have today, we can do more. We can do multiple channels for the same feed, different camera angles, but at the same time, the network allows us low delay and low jitter, which is a best feature or the specification that's required for remote production.
And is there any one thing other than the network that makes remote production possible nowadays?
Of course, there's a customer benefits in reducing cost, but also there's, apart from the human benefits, and there's also an extremely important factor is the environmental benefits. With the remote production, and especially international remote production, we are reducing international travel, we are reducing the number of people we send to venues, and there might be multiple venues. We are reducing the amount of power we consume because we are doing centralized hubs for multiple events at the same time. So that's reduced the amount of people we send to site, the travel, it reduced the power. But most important is it reduces the cost to produce the same event, but we are actually producing a better quality event, more feeds for less. And that's extremely important from major broadcasting and televisions that allow them to do more.
Or do you see a shift in your strategy for, let's hope this whole thing ends pretty soon, right? So you see a shift in your strategy, or are you just going to kind of roll with your demands on your network as they happen?
There's, I think we're going to go back closer to what was before, but something was accelerated and they will continue, right? So, live sports is going to pick up again, but I'm sure esports will get out of this stronger than it was before, and one of the things that we see a lot on our projects, as Todd mentioned, is remote production, right? And I'm sure that's, that was just accelerated, and it's going to be here for even stronger, and a lot more people will be using it because it works, it's easier, it's more flexible, and it's more cost efficient.
I think so. Allied Esports is a global esports property network. We run a number of high-end esports arenas around the world and produce proprietary content and third-party content for brands and developers that either use our space or tournaments.
Over the last few years, to the point where most of our events that take place in a studio or the big ones in a stadium. So It's quite funny actually. It's almost gone full circle. When COVID hit a few months back, the leagues were probably down for about 2 weeks. There was initially a break, but
way. So obviously in-venue events, the screen behind me is from DreamHack Atlanta, a major festival that saw about 40,000 people with the energy of a EDM concert mixed with a sporting event. And that's what is very experiential and kind of where esports was moving to before COVID. And so, with a shift, we are looking to digital festivals, if you will. And one that we did specifically just a little while back on May the 5th was actually, it had a nonprofit charity component for COVID relief. And so the event was called COVAID, a pretty good name, and it benefited two great partners, the Boys and Girls Club of America as our domestic partner, and AmeriCares, which is a global organization providing PPE around the world, as our global partner. And it really leaned into what Ricardo and others mentioned around live sports being on pause. And of course, live music is also on pause. So there's athletes, there's musicians, there's entertainers that are wanting to connect with their audience. And gaming is a platform that still exists where many others have been shut down. So it was a 13-hour live stream. We actually partnered with 6 different games, everything from Super Smash Brothers to iRacing to Fortnite to Warzone to Madden. About 100 celebrities involved. So the football player Rob Gronkowski, the day after he announced he was going to be returning to the NFL, he challenged Ninja, the most famous gamer in the world, in Warzone, and he challenged hip-hop artist Lil Jon to take him on in Madden, and that actually happened, which was remarkable. So it was a great event with a ton of partners, really all coming together to give back. But certainly for us as a producer and as an esports operator, it was great experience. It opened up production challenges that we hadn't had to solve before, and we're a better company because of it, and I think all the partners involved would feel the same. So that's I think that it wasn't the first and it won't be the last of different companies exploring the virtual space this way.
Yeah, it is, and just the nature of that is really putting a stress and showing the importance of the telecoms infrastructure that underlies all of these things. I know that Nico Partners hadn't really dug into that aspect of what makes esports and gaming in general so successful in the eyes of the user, the eyes of the the end user. And it's like a robust network and things never dropping and the ability to monitor and queue in and out. And in the virtual world, it even makes that stronger. And the fact that because you wouldn't be able to rely on the real world enthusiasm if something went wrong technically. So the technical part of it is even that much more important. So I find that really interesting. So Ricardo, what surprises have you learned as your esports business has grown in the past year or two? What have you learned at Telstra about esports overall, just watching how the demands on your network and the requirements of your customers have grown over the last couple of years?
I think the main lesson here, which was not really a surprise for us that are already in the industry, but was how quickly esports has adapted to the situation we're living today, right? If